Hi everyone. Please excuse the clunky visual transitions in this tutorial. I'm using the native Windows 10 video editing software, and it doesn't come with any transitions. So as soon as I get a half-decent editor, I'll convert this into something smoother. After being asked a few times how I modeled my edge beams, I've unsuccessfully tried to describe it. So if you want to have a go, this video will help. I demonstrate a method to create and document a flat 2D line string which defines the curve as it extends left and right along the front face of our edge beams and then curves around and continues into the in situ aspects. Originally I was asked if I knew of any way to do this and to document it, describing 3D geometry, all the 3D geometry necessary for manufacture. So this is what I've done. As we design more of these bridges, this may become a useful technique. We receive a control line from Civils, which is a bit notchy, so we have to idealize this line string into a smoother form while adhering to its vertical limits. The added requirement is that we convert it into a faceted form with the least number of possible vertices. This is deemed necessary because 3D curves are difficult to document when they vary through all planes. So I give a simple method of creating and documenting a simple 2D line string which has embedded the 3D curved data at every point. This process has 3 stages. Number 1, we have to convert the Civils 3D line string into a 2D line string consisting only of straight facets. Second, we should use this simple faceted line string to define the 3D curves in the precast beam. Third, we should be able to document in simple fashion the data necessary to manufacture the edge beam with correct 3D geometry. Using this two-dimensional profile by projecting it onto what I call the billet, we will digitally set out and generate the full 3D barrier. And they will do the same at manufacture with a tripod-mounted linear diffused setting out laser. And if the laser is broken, they can easily measure set out points in your model along the curve to the floor datum. Right, in a moment I'm going to have to switch over to the inferior microphone, which is in the headset. So I apologize in advance because the sound is, my voice is going to be a bit sketchy. But I'll try and speak clear. I have to wear the headset if I aim to narrate and drive the 3D model at the same time. The other thing is I have to try and keep this tutorial down to 15 minutes or less, because if it's over it'll get blocked. So that means I'll have to clip it into 2 halves, and of course I'll send you both halves. I've done a lot of talking already. Okay, so this is the 3D line string that we've received from Civils, which represents the back of pavement as it interfaces with our edge beam. So this will be influencing how we generate our curb and all the lines above the curb on the face of the barrier. So what we'll be doing is we'll be taking this 3D line string, which deflects through all planes with a large number of coordinates, and we will codify it into a much simpler state with only maybe 3 or 4 or 5 coordinate points onto a flat 2D element. We will then release that codified 3D element onto the appropriate substrate or canvas to regenerate it in a much improved form, which will be smoothly curved where it's meant to be, and with vertices where they are meant to be. Here we are doing it on a theoretical billet or ovular cylinder, and in manufacturing they will do it on the concrete formwork. So let me just take you to this view here, and I will set my active depth in this view to be on this element, and let's just delete that. Let me just make a quick check of something. Yeah, that's fine. Right, so we've got instruction from, I think it's Vic Rhodes, who said we should be specifying the manufacture of these edge beams with no straight lines, sorry, with no curved lines on this elevation, because setting out and forming up and producing curved lines on concrete, which weighs about, I think about 13 tons or a bit more, this particular beam when it's finished is time consuming, and time is money. So they want straight lines, so we have to give them straight lines on this elevation. Although the barrier will curve as it goes, it curves through 90 degrees as it extends around here and around here, we can still specify it as straight lines in this elevation. Right, so this is a type of gauge or gateway. We've been told that we have to create a curb line which is not less than 80 millimeters above the paving or not higher than 80. So this means that we have a 20 mil gap there, which starts at 60. So we'll take this gateway, and we'll put one there, and we'll put them along this line string. We'll climb up to the top, the apex, the zenith, apogee, right there. I can tell by those two notches that we're right at the top. Laterally, we can be out by 5, 10 centimeters, it doesn't matter, 15. But in this plane, obviously, we have to be spot on. And then we'll dip back down to the lowest point. And then we will climb back up. Okay, so now we'll take, let me just check. I'll do a quick check. There, look, see all those gates, those gateways, they're all on one plane. Okay, so let's go back to this view. And let's just make sure. I just want to make double sure that my active depth is there in this view and that my locks are on. Okay, so now we'll take a nice blue laser beam, a nice thin one, and we will start shooting our arrow. Start at 80 mil because we know we'll be meeting the retaining wall at 80 mil, and we'll fire it all the way to the high point, all the way to the low point, and back up to the high point. Okay, so now I can see already that we're fouling this one by about, I would say, if that's 20, so this is probably about 7. Let's just check that. So that is 6 mil. Okay, so we have to come down to be inside the gauge, but clearly we can't come down because we're here. So now this is the stage where we either add or subtract vertices as necessary in order to arrive at the least possible number of straight lines. Remember, every straight line is an extra $1. So the fewer the better. Okay, so now we can't come down, we can only slide across. So let's slide across. We'll slide across on this incline here. Slide across like that. And we have still not cleared that one. Let me just make a quick check of something. Good, where we are on one plane. That's all on one plane. Go back to that view. Let me just make absolutely sure of something, because I went to a saved view and I think a saved view might have a different active depth. So I'm just going to reset my active depth to be there in this view. Okay, and I'll put my locks on. Right, so we have to slide this over, gently coming further down, because we will be on this line here. And we have to come down enough that we clear that. So let's just grab this. Let's try that. We're still fouling it. Let's try that. And we are fouling it by easily less than a mil. And I'll measure that in a moment to confirm. And I think that we probably will not be able to measure it because it'll be beneath the positional units of